Say hello to the person next to you just while Rob gets set up. Give Rob a moment to be ready.
Your Majesty. You tell us when to turn.
Yeah? Yeah. I trust physical buttons, not. Just let me know when to start.
I think we're almost ready. Sorry?
It was a good last night.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was really good. It was a lot of work. It was a long time coming. I wrote 90% of that material 12 years ago, 10 years ago, but we'd never played it as a piece of music. So that was the first time last night. So what was really strange was having people clap. Because we played it a lot practicing, but we've never played it in front of people, so it's really encouraging. So it's massively encouraging. Are we all back? Is that everyone? Oh, is Shami coming in?
Oh, Shami's in
Is
back there
Marianne?
with the class.
We good? Yeah.
No, that's right.
Come on, the mums.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, it's great to be able to see everyone today. Great to be together, a nice sunny day. You know, I was thinking about what my message will be today. And I think, you know, just thinking about what means a lot to me, you know, throughout my life is it's the small things that people has done for me. And since it's Mother's Day, you know, we focus on the small things that our mums have done for us. Things that are pretty much everyday stuff to us, but you know, they'll do something for us that will make a big impact in our lives and a lasting impact. You know, I mean, what are those? I was listening to Simeon's welcome. I was thinking, is he going to steal my thunder over asking a question? But no, thankfully you didn't. But I mean, you know, just what are some of the examples that your mom has done for you that you remember? You know, as you're growing up, and even now, that has made a big impact on you, on your life. You know, anyone? George?
It's a kind of a double-edged sword in a weird kind of way, but like whenever I did a performance or whenever I was involved in music and stuff like that, she was always there. Like she didn't give me a lot of feedback, never necessarily, but she was always there. She was a presence. So it's kind of like that. Like she always made that effort to be a presence in my life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to say anything. You can just be there. Even just being there can mean a lot to a person. Yeah. Anyone else? Simeon?
I remember when I was a teenager, my mom took me to a native doctor so that the native doctor could pray, so that I could be very intelligent, I could do well in my exams. You know, later on, you know, we got to talk about when I became a Christian and when I became a believer. You know, I now recount that some of the things she had done in the past, you know, just to make us successful, and just helping her to see that those things, you know, can work except through Christ, you understand? But just to see that she wanted our success, every one of us. She could go to any length, you know, to do that, you know. So when that incident every now and then I remember, sometimes I just remember, wow, this woman did this, took me to this place just because she wanted me to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand? So that's one of the things, that when I look back, I do remember sometimes. Just it reminds me that this woman wanted our success. That's
I got another one.
Yeah,
So this morning I was cooking for church, and it reminded me of when I was younger. Every Sunday, the smell of like a roast dinner coming, because my mum would always cook a roast dinner, which we kind of take for granted. But we always had a roast dinner on Sunday, so we always sat down as a family and had a meal together, like every Sunday without fail. And that table time was a massive impact on my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember growing up and living with my grandma because my mum worked in South Africa. So I lived with my grandma and I used to then call her mum. But when I tell my friends here, like, you grew up with your mum, I said, well, no, actually, I grew up with my grandma, but I realised, like you say, she sacrificed, she was getting all the necessities that I needed growing up and putting money together to then bring me here as well and stuff. But to some people it's like, what, your mum didn't live with you for like for 8 years? And I'm like, no. But yeah, so that's, those little things, it's probably a big thing actually. There's big things, but a big impact.
I mean, knowing someone is there for you, will be there for you when you need them, is quite it's great.
Yeah, my mom's like that. So my mom is a superhero when I was little. So always there for me. I remember one day I was little. This very vivid memory. Because I'm the most behaved kid in the
I don't know about that one.
we have this. Believe me. There's we have a sewing machine, and then I was looking at this circle spinning around with a belt, so I put my finger in there, and then my finger got stuck, and so my mom, literally my rescue, picked me up, including the sewing machine, to the doctor, running. So the machine itself, and then the doctor helped me remove it. So it's I tell you, most behaved, but my mom's always there to rescue.
Wow.
Sewing machine and all.
The sewing machine
itself, take it out.
Those are heavy. Those old days sewing machines are so heavy.
Yeah, those single ones, it's like cast iron.
It's like cast iron, yeah.
We had a neighbor doctor about 2 blocks away, so she
Right, okay. Hasn't happened since, has it?
become most behaved.
Yeah. But so it's with the examples that we've been hearing, it's always the small things that make a difference. I mean, we hear of large corporations, large companies hiring these PR companies to be able to get them image out there, to make them more popular, and they pay loads of money to be able to to be popular amongst people, and quite often when we look at the Bible, Jesus focused on the small things. We're going to look at some examples now, but he wasn't into theatre when it came to his message, delivering his message. He focused on the small things. And I mean, we'll just go. I mean, there's 5 5 points that I want to make, but that is just literally the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how we can have that impact on other people. And we're looking at some of the very few examples in the Bible, like Jesus. If you go to the next slide, healing the sick woman. So Jesus was preaching, and the crowds were just crowding around him, and yet he was able to notice a woman on the side who had this need. That was a photo that I took with my brother, and that was last week. That was in Valencia during the start of the Fallas. Have anyone ever heard of Fallas? it's just like this the celebration of the winter solstice, you know, the start of spring. In Valencia, this is bigger than Christmas and New Year.
Oh, wow.
This is, you know, there's fireworks going everywhere. They actually had, the government had to actually lower the decibels of the fireworks because windows started to break.
Oh my gosh.
In the buildings, and about 10 or 20 years ago, they said, right, you know, let's tone down the amount of fireworks, but it was still quite deafening. But the crowds were crazy, you know. I mean, this was for a 5-minute firework, but yet, you know, it's the start of the celebrations, and there were just crowds. No one was actually focused on me or my brother, but yet the crowds were just so overwhelming. I mean, that's what you see behind us, but in front of us was, you know, 10 times more. You know, if I was to think, how am I able to focus on one person? If there was, you know, someone who needed something, how would I even know that person needed my help? Yet Jesus, when all the attention was on him, everyone was in his face. You know, when he was, when he was in the town, he managed to notice this woman and healed her. The next slide. There's, you know, Jesus says in Mark 10:13-16, you know, he teaches us that we need to be focused on the children. You know, the disciples were trying to, you know, saying, yeah, children, you know, don't bother us. You know, we're on a mission here. You know, and then Jesus rebuked the disciples, saying, listen, let the children come to me. They are important. You know, he did these small things for the children, and he realized how important they were in the kingdom of God. Showing kindness to outsiders. Zacchaeus, the tax collector. You know, I mean, being a tax collector even now is a thankless job. If someone tells you, yeah, I work for HMRC, you immediately thinking, right, okay, don't you owe me some money? You know, but it's, you know, tax collectors then, you know, and they just had this thing about them where not many people liked them. But Jesus, you know, had dinner with him, you know, and, you know, he showed him compassion, you know, love, and the fact that, you know, he did matter. And the result of that was Zacchaeus being so moved by the fact that Jesus had dinner with him, you know, he gave us, you know, half his possessions to the poor. Small act of kindness had a massive impact. When he was on the cross, we've been through this before, you know, he wasn't focused on him and his suffering, and, you know, he was saying, right, he wanted to look after his mother. You know, he's saying, you know, look, you know, I need someone to look after her. You know, because, you know, the whole town was, you know, was following him, you know, from carrying the cross to the time when he's being crucified. You know, yet he was focused on his mother. Has anyone ever washed your feet? Yeah. How would you feel, you know, if someone came, you know, and washed your feet, sat you down on a chair, you know, took your socks and shoes off, maybe after a park run, which isn't always, the freshest of feet after a park run, but then and they wash your feet. I mean, how would you feel? But yet Jesus did that, you know, to his disciples. Very, very small thing, you know, a small act of kindness. So the first of the 5 things that I want to focus on is, the first one is being active in the church. If you go to the next slide, please. In Hebrews 10:24 and 25, it says, let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. You know, as a church, you know, we do many things to be able to support one another, to encourage one another. What are some of the things that we do for each other that that you found really encouraging, whether it's a individual thing, someone gave you some help outside the church, or whether it's just part of the fellowship or family group.
Praying for each other.
Praying for each other, yeah. Letting know that just letting someone know that you're thinking of them. That really means a lot.
Having a listening ear. having a listening ear.
Just listening. Yeah. That's important. I mean, because sometimes I just need to vent to somebody. And yeah, it's definitely so encouraging. Yes, okay.
Yeah, for me, because I don't have car, I feel so blessed when someone give me a lift, like home or to church, or like I don't need to take bus hour to go here, so I can just.
Yeah, absolutely. Any sort of help that you need, when someone has the ability to help you. There's so many things that we can do, and to help one another out. Yeah.
Sunday refreshments.
Exactly. The communion. Someone. I'm embarrassed. Who actually does the communion? Was it Becky?
Becky.
Maybe I should notice more. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Becky does the communion. We all sit here, and we have wait for everything to be passed around. But then it was Becky behind the scenes, making it happen for us. The Kids Kingdom, Shami's there teaching, looking after the kids, trying to sow that seed in our children, and all the other, teachers that help out, so many things. All the cooking you do, Roger, without miss, Marianne, hosting in your house. There's so many things that we do for one another. It's so encouraging, and that what makes the church a family, and this is what Jesus intended, for his early church, and is what we have now.
Family group, super encouraging.
Family group, yeah.
Super tasty.
Mars.
I'm actually quite, I'm quite busy with work every day, and I know Merv is probably busier than me, but yet he cooks chicken every Friday. For all of, there's no missing.
And fake sausages.
And
Fake sausages.
Emily and I, we chat about that.
Yeah.
Well, vegan
Like,
sausage.
I'm cooking this. What are you cooking?
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, everyone goes there, but it's Merv's cooking, that just brings together that atmosphere, this family atmosphere, and it's all these little things that we all do for each other. My message today is simple. The title of the message is the small things. I should change it to small, but I had another title, but it's the small things that really matter in our lives. That's the first one. The second point is, next slide please, practice love and kindness. Go back one. Go back one. Yeah, that's it. So this lady here, her name's Caroline. Next to her is her husband Mark. Okay. Caroline is a geotechnical engineer. I worked with her on one of my previous projects years ago. Since then, she and Mark are now they're professional triathletes. So, and they're sponsored by the logo on their shirt and the bikes and everything. They're based in Mallorca now, but their triathlons and their endurance races, it takes them all over the world. Okay, and they currently come back from Colombia. You can see they have loads of events, and they're just they're just hardcore when it comes to all their racing. But on a recent, I think last year, they went on a race in Nepal. They were based in a place, they stayed in a guest house which is about 2 hours west of Kathmandu. And there they were in a little village, and they met a family, two families. And if you go to the next slide, it shows, so the first family they met is up in the top left. The girl in pink on the left is her name is Ushika, and that's her mother and her brother. You can't see it very well, but behind them is a buffalo.
Wow.
That buffalo is what her mom uses to make money from the milk.
Wow.
So she sells the milk, but her income is only enough to send her brother to school.
Oh wow.
Being in a situation, you have a boy and a girl, you would send the boy to school to get educated. In the center photo there, the boy in the cap, his name is Ranjit. Again, in a similar situation, his mum, on the far left hand side, she doesn't even have money to send to school. So they met these two families in the rural part of Nepal, and then they started a GoFundMe page, to be able to send money to be able to send them to school, and it's one of the ones I support every now and then to help them to pay their school fees, and they are so grateful because now both Ushika and her brother can get an education, Raji can get an education, and along with other donors, they found another little small kindergarten in the area as well. And this nice colourful photo on the bottom here, you can see all the little children. But what we take for granted is that the children are wearing a blue jumper and a blue beanie. That is not the school uniform.
Oh.
They had nothing. Some of them actually don't even have shoes on that photo. But so they appealed again, and we all put some money together, sent it through to them, and we bought them those jumpers and the hats, because it was winter, it's a bit cold there, so that they'll be able to stay warm in the classroom. And it's a concrete classroom, it's a concrete floor. The photo on the right, some of the money went to stationery, and also mats on the floor because they sit on the floor, it's cold, and just to make their school experience a little bit more comfortable for them. I will probably never meet them, but Caroline and Mark is going to go there in the next few months to visit, just to see how things are going. But they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to go through all the effort to make sure that things are bought and supplied. Paying the school fees, buying equipment for the school. But yet they did that. And it's impacted all those children. Hopefully we'll be able to continue that going forward. But it's looking out for these opportunities, isn't it? It's all of us looking out for these opportunities that we can help in a small way. They could have easily just said, "Oh, right, I'm going to finish up my race, let's go and prepare for the next one, thank you very much," and then flown out of Nepal and not even seen the opportunity. But their love and kindness is definitely making a big impact on them as well. Next slide, please. The third point is cultivate virtues in ourselves. Colossians 3 verse 12 to 14 says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you, and of all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity." What sort of acts of kindness, and virtues have we received from other people? You don't have to answer the question, but just think about it in your life. How has someone, for even giving you a lift to somewhere,
Opportunity to live in their house.
Opportunity to live in their house, Yeah. Making you, perhaps, you had a baby, or making you food. Alex and Sheila, I know there was a rota to take them, and I know when we had our two boys, when they were like in the first couple of weeks, you're just adjusting to life. You know, and it's, you know, it's just so, it made such a big difference, you know.
Okay, I remember when Simeon, when we were still boys.
Boys.
So we
You're a man.
will go to the field, we'll go evangelize, study the Bible with people, and then you come back hungry. But we know that Simeon will have prepared a meal for us, you know. So each time we get back, there'll be food, and so it's very encouraging. So we know that we're not going to go back, we're not going to go to bed hungry because Simeon will have food for us.
Yeah. Simeon's got a big heart.
Yeah, what I wanted to share is about the names. There's so many things people have done for me. I remember when I had Lydia and Senior was back in Nigeria, and the way the disciple in London rally around, it was just amazing. They have timetable for food, for taking, because I was in the hostel, they have timetable for coming to take all the clothes for laundry, wash it and bring it back. It was just amazing. And because of their love, my neighbor became a disciple. It's just like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you even last night, you guys driving for an hour just to be there to encourage me, but not just that. I mean, there were lots of people there that we've been reaching out to for a long time, and just for them to be there and to feel like the weight of that event and everyone sort of happy together was just so encouraging. Really, really encouraging. I'm super grateful for people coming.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You know, so, you know, each of us has something that we can give, you know, a number of things that we can give to other people, and it's just, you know, grabbing those opportunities to be able to and make the effort to encourage people, and that means so much, you know. Who likes Michael McIntyre?
He's funny.
He was so funny. I mean, in one of his sketches, he was talking about, you know, when you're driving in traffic, you know, you're driving along the main road, and then suddenly, you know, you see someone wanting to turn into the road you're in, right? So you stop, you know, and you let that person go in front of you, and, you know, and you feeling, oh, I'm the hero here. I'm so virtuous. Look how great I am. I'm actually letting someone in front of me in a queue.
I feel that.
You know, I'm the epitome of virtue. You know, Then the second car wants to come along, and you're like, no. only one. You wait for the next guy. I'm guilty of that, right? So, you know, but yeah, it's all these things that you know that we make a conscious decision to do for other people, and you know, the question is, what is your virtue? What are the virtues that you have that you can give to other people? You know, consistently. You know, there may be a number of them. You know, again, it's like Jesus in the crowd. It's like being able to spot those opportunities where you can help someone, putting up your hand, volunteering to help. I know, Kate, you help a lot of people in Ukraine, right? You know, you organize. You know, you spread the message. You know.
Yeah, just pack clothes.
Pack clothes, and, you know, doing all these things. But I'm sure it means a lot to you to people back home. You know. So the next slide, please. Rest. There needs a balance in our lives, you know, and Jesus gave us this very important example in Mark chapter 6, verse 30 to 31. He says, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. This was a time when Jesus was going from village to village to village teaching. You know, he sent out the 12 because he couldn't do everything by himself. To say, well, you guys should help me. They were already busy. This passage was after they fed the 5,000. I mean, 5,000 people. You go to a stadium and you're thinking, there's a massive amount of people here. How can you actually? And everybody is looking at you. to help them, you know. And, you know, the disciples were like, well, we don't even have time to eat, you know. But then Jesus said, right, as soon as he heard that, let's just withdraw from this, we'll carry on later, let's just get some rest ourselves. Because, you know, Jesus understood that it's all about balance, you know. Rest is just as important, you know. For us, it's taking time out to spend time with family, you know. Take you know, time out to spend time with God during your quiet times, you know. So it's very important to focus on that. You know, we can get so busy with things every single day, appointment after appointment, social, week in, week out, in addition to work, and we can easily feel burnt out, you know. When you feel burnt out, when you feel, you know, you feel exhausted, you're fatigued, then, you know, your ability to give to people, you just don't have that energy. So Jesus recognized the need to have some rest. Next slide, please. The final point is continue to learn. Timothy, supposed to be 1 Timothy 3:16-17. All Scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness, so that the servant of God may be thoroughly equipped for every good work. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And this is this verse in Proverbs is for me is the most important. You know, it says guard your heart. It also means examine your heart. You know, when we are in a situation, how do we react and how do we respond? You know, when our children needs us, or when our friends, our colleagues needs us, when we need ourselves, you know, how do we react? So we need to guard our hearts and constantly examine them. Next slide, please. So as we take communion, you know, we hear Paul in 1 Corinthians 1, 1 Corinthians 11, verse 23-26. For I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you. The Lord Jesus, on the night he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me. For whenever you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes." I've underlined those two sentences, in remembrance of me. And as we remember the sacrifice that Jesus has done for us, everything that we do, the small things that we do for other people, are all in remembrance of him. It may not be headline news, maybe not a PR exercise. Okay, no one may even notice, but yet someone does notice. That person that you help, that person that you support, even if it's just being somewhere, means a lot. We do that in remembrance of Jesus. Let's bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us a different perspective. Life today is so busy. Life today is all about headlines, what people do, promoting, self-promotion, whether it's companies, individuals. But you take us back in a powerful way by showing us the examples that you set for us, in noticing the small things that we do that make a huge impact. Your crucifixion was not a small thing, yet in your mind you know, it was the least of your concerns because you wanted the world to think about the other people. You were focused on other people. You were focused on us and not yourself. We thank you for your sacrifice. We thank you for the lessons that we can learn. We thank you for the heart that you have given us and the ability, the lessons to learn how we can, you know, instill some joy in other people, hope in other people, happiness, comfort, love, all the things that you have shown us through your sacrifice. We pray that you keep us, our hearts open, keep our hearts soft, and that we will continue always remember, you know, how we can make, you know, a huge impact with the small things that we do. We love you. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.